Okay, I'm going to try this again. For some reason, it just went off on me when I first tried it, right in this song. Anyway, or tune. Anyway, I'm the crazy old man, also known as Lee, and I'm going to talk about the soul. I call this You Are Your Soul because you are your soul. Your body's not your soul, and you are not your body. The body's just a thing that your soul uses while it's on earth. And some people may disagree with what I have to say. Some people may agree. And some people may not give a damn. Anyway, what I'm about to say, I got from a couple of sources. Can't remember what sources they were because it was a while back. It was probably 10 years ago. And it's sort of, I think that creationists probably wouldn't like this because it sort of tells me that evolution is true. The human brain has two parts, the old brain and the new brain. The old brain is instinct. The new brain is your soul. Now, those two things I just said about instinct and the soul are what I figured out from reading it, even though they didn't actually say that. But it made me think about it being what I said. Anyway, the new brain, like I say, is your soul. That's you. That's where your personality is. And when someone, well, let me put it this way. In old cartoons, they had a devil and an angel fighting for control over the person that they were a part of. The devil was the instinct, and the angel was the soul, the reasoning part of the brain. Part of the brain that makes decisions, where with the old part, the devil, it just does what it wants to. It doesn't think about it. And that's true with us. And when we get addicted to drugs, for example, the devil is taken over. The devil says, hey, that's fun. I love it. I'm going to keep up on that. And the soul says, no, you aren't. And in this case, the soul loses, the angel, the good part. And I call that a lost soul. And what I try and do when it comes to drug addicts is I try to help them find that lost soul. There's also a lot more to it, and when we pass away, I prefer saying when we pass away, because we don't die, our body dies. We just go on to the next place. And so, anyway, with drug addiction, first of all, I try and find out why the person is addicted. What triggered that addiction? A lot of times they're in a situation where they can't get out of, they think they can't get out of. You can get out of any situation. And so what they're doing is they're covering up the problem instead of fixing it. You can correct the problem or put it down in a hole and bury it and continue on with your life. That's one thing I try to do. I also try and get the person to love themselves, know themselves, and be themselves. As like I said, you are the good part, the angel. And your body is the devil. Now, I was talking to a minister who happened to teach in a seminary. And I was telling him what I thought. And he said, you know, I'm going to use that in my classes. So I figured that, gee, I may be right. Well, I feel that, like I said, we don't die, our body dies. And they are looking at cryogenics, where they freeze the body until they can find a cure for what the person died from. When they find the cure, they'll bring the body back to life. Now there's a problem there. Your soul is gone. It ain't going to come back. It's not going to want to come back. And what will be alive is the old part of the brain. And it'll turn out sort of like Frankenstein monster. Anyway, what I'm going to do is play something else I've never heard before, and we'll find out if it's good together. This is In My Hands Your Soul Will Rest by Steve Book. I like that, but it was a little too long. Anyway, let's get back to the soul. I am 69 years old. Turned 69 3 months ago. And when I was 7, I had a near-death experience. And I saw the light. I saw someone I'd never seen before. And a couple years later, I saw a picture, a family picture, and that person was in there. I said to my father, I've seen her before. He told me that she died before I was born. So I figured she must have been the lady I saw. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is more of a thing about your soul going on. My father died or passed away about 20 years ago. And after a few years after he died, I was in a car accident. I had moved up north of Detroit in a farming area, and I got a job up there. And the plant I was working at, I had decided that I was going back and forth from Detroit, but I decided I better move up there because I was working 12 hours a day. I was an accountant. And we had 2 shifts, 12 hours each, worked from 8 to 8. And anyway, I just moved up there and I decided to go check, see how the midnight shift or the late shift was doing. And I was getting ready to turn left, and it was a 2-lane highway, and I was getting ready to turn left. And there was a car coming from the other direction. I looked in my mirror, and this guy was seemed to be going awfully fast, and didn't seem like he was even going to stop. My father appeared next to me, said, "Lee, relax. Isn't anything you knew about, so relax." His philosophy of life was, if you can't do anything about it, don't worry about it. And right then I figured out what he meant. A guy hit me. I was stopped, and he was doing about 75 when he hit me. I had an escort, and the back bumper was holding the door closed. The back seat was next to me in the front seat. And there were a bunch of tires in the back seat, and they were all next to me. For some reason, they didn't knock my head off or anything. I had to climb out the window. Oh, when the car was hit, it went into the other lane and sideswiped the car that was coming towards me. A couple seconds earlier, I would have hit the car head on. And I figure it was doing about 60. And then I ended up in the ditch on the other side of the road. And I climbed out the window, got out of the car, and cop came, and he says, "Where's the driver of this car?" I said, "I am." He said, "You're supposed to be dead." And I didn't want to tell him what happened because I figured he wouldn't believe me anyway. So, anyway, I told the cop, I said, I've lived in some of the roughest areas of Detroit. Never came so close to death until I came up here. And he said, this highway is more dangerous than the city of Detroit. And I believe it. People drove out there like they were crazy. 2-lane highway, speed limit was 60 or 65, I forget which. I think it was 65. But you go around the corner and there'd be a tractor going. Usually they were off to the side of the road, but sometimes they were right in the road. And a lot of people hit those tractors. I know of a motorcycle hit the tractor and a guy was killed. A guy on a motorcycle. Anyway, right then I knew that there was afterlife. And my mother always said that she felt my dad's presence. My daughter went to visit, and I was talking to her, and she said, "Daddy, I'm not going back to Grandma's house." I said, "Why not?" She says, "Grandpa's there." And I told her, I said, "He's a good ghost." And I told her how he saved me. Everybody that went to visit my mother said they felt my father's presence. I went to visit, and there was a knock on the bedroom door. I got up and no one was there. My mother was asleep in her bedroom. And I'm thinking, well, hi, Dad, how you doing? And when my mother passed away, my dad went with her up to heaven. I had another near-death experience. A car accident. I was driving on the freeway. Speed limit was 70. I was doing 75. I had a stroke and I passed out. The car went across the freeway and there was a lot of traffic, but luckily I didn't hit anybody and nobody hit me. And I hit the guardrail on the other side and the car was totaled. If I wasn't unconscious, I probably would have died. But since I was unconscious, I lived. But being unconscious also caused the accident. Ambulance came, and I came to long enough to let them know that I didn't have any insurance. And so they took me to the University of Michigan Hospital. And I went out again when the ambulance left. I didn't come to until I was in the emergency room on the table. I had another near-death experience. I came close to death 15 times. Car accidents, getting shot at, minor things. Mostly car accidents, and they weren't my fault. And I was sober at the time, too. And I have learned, first of all, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. When I was in the hood, I wasn't afraid of anything. I wasn't afraid of death. As I felt there was afterlife. I felt that your body dies, your soul lives on. So, I am going to play another song. Not a song, it's the Detroit Phillharmonic Orchestra You know I got my soul. Okay, that was a little strange, but I liked it. It was very nice, and it's not the Phillharmonic Orchestra, it's the Detroit Philharmonic Symphony. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to have my eyes fixed. Yeah, I was a drunk. I was a drunk for 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. I don't know. I was drunk. I didn't know about the time. And the reason I was drunk was I was in a marriage that I was very unhappy with. In fact, I don't think I was ever really happy in a marriage. When the preacher asked if I took this woman to be my lawfully wedded wife, I said, I do? In other words, there was a big, long question mark after that. And I knew within the next hour that I made a big mistake. She was a good woman, but we didn't click. I guess I clicked because she stuck with me in my drunk years. But anyway, I finally realized that the best thing to do, instead of getting drunk and killing myself with alcohol, I should just quit getting drunk. And in order to do that, I had to get out of the situation I was in. This was over 30 years ago. And back then, you stayed together for the children. I had 2 kids. But I realized that I was making life miserable for the wife and the kids. And people would tell me how much fun I had the night before when I'd be out getting drunk. And I'd sit there wondering, damn, I can't remember. Anyway, I decided to get out of the situation. I met a gal. She was a stripper, ex-cop, black woman. And we fell in love. And I left the wife. I moved in with her. And I had a few clients. I was a CPA. I worked for a CPA firm, and I was to the point where they offered me a partnership. I had been there for 9 years. And I decided, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go out on my own. Because if I'm a partner, they'll interfere with my drinking. And so when I left, I quit getting drunk. The day I left. I still drank, but I didn't get drunk. Maybe a couple of times I came close. And then when we split up, I started to drink too much again. I ended up living in the hood. Well, I moved in with her sister. I ran a room from her sister's. I lived next door to her father and mother. I was still in with the family. But I started drinking again when we split up. But I met a gal. She was a crack addict. And I ended up living with her. I ended up buying her drugs for her. Because I didn't want her going out on her own and getting them. I wanted her to be safe. I got to know the drug world. Never got into crack. Tried marijuana, but didn't like it. And I decided I got to quit drinking. Still went to the bars. I love the bars. In fact, I had a few girlfriends that were dancers after that. But I quit drinking. I went homeless at one time and ended up living in a bar for 6 months. I attended a bar a couple of times. Now you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with your soul? I'm getting to that. See, your soul makes the decisions for you. Because that's you. So actually, you're making the decisions for yourself. When you're drunk or into other drugs, addicted to other drugs, like I say, your soul loses control. But it can get back control. It's been 22 years since I've had a drink. In that time, I still went to bars. Like I say, I attended bars and lived in a bar. When I lived in a bar, I'd walk by that 151 rum bottle and it would call my name, but I would ignore it. because I used to drink 5 double 151 rum and cokes before I'd go home. That way, when I got home, the old lady I didn't give a damn what she said. Damn, I'm keeping the language pretty good in here, aren't I? Anyway, afterwards, a few years, I had cancer. And the first time I had it, it was on my ear, and there was a part of my ear that was being eaten away. And I was working, and I got health insurance. And I was able to take care of it. And then, about between 5 and 10 years, I can't remember exactly, the cancer came back. I didn't have health insurance. I couldn't afford health insurance. I went 5 years with the cancer eating my ear. My mother had a heart attack and passed away. My brother and I were happy for her because now she could see my father. She was with my father. They were together. And her passing made it so, from what I inherited, I was able to get health insurance and take care of the cancer. I went 5 years before that in pain. By the time I had the surgery, all I had left was my earlobe. And the side of my head is all screwed up from it. Without my hair, I would look like the Frankenstein monster if you look at my right side. And I went through those 5 years, and the pain was very painful. But I learned how to ignore it. Again, my father's philosophy of life was, if you can't do anything about it, don't worry about it. And what I did was I put the pain out of my mind. Your soul does wonders when you need it to. Your mind is a beautiful thing. My mind saved my life many times. And it got me through the hard times. When I had my cancer surgery, I had a heart attack right after the surgery, the next day. I was in the cancer section of the hospital, and I had 3 cancer doctors running around, 3 nurses, beautiful nurses. And my heart was just speeding. And I told the nurse something was wrong, and she called in the doctors. And a doctor came to me and he said, "Mr. Gaylord, we had to call in a specialist because we aren't heart doctors." And the heart doctor came, but before he came, I said to the doctor that told me that he was coming, I said, "Doc, don't worry about it. If I die with these beautiful nurses here, I'll die happy." Looked at me like I was crazy. But that's the way I was. That's the way my father was. When they told him he had cancer the first time, he said, "Okay, what do I do next, Doc?" The doctor said, "Aren't you upset?" And my father said, "Why should I be? Can't do anything about it. I got to put myself in your hands." And when they didn't know exactly where it was, I thought it was lung cancer, but it was in the throat. They just came out with cobalt. And the doctor told my father that he had about 6 months to live. My father said, well, I guess I better get my will together. And then within a week, the doctor called my father and said that they do have a cure for it. And it's cobalt treatments. And he went through that. The first time I had cancer, I went through radiation treatments, which they use x-rays. Anyway, I learned to control pain. I learned to get rid of stress. Again, your mind's a beautiful thing. Since then, I've had 4 heart attacks. I've had 3 strokes. I almost lost my leg to diabetes. I've got emphysema. I've got a defibrillator implant to keep my heart from going too fast. I've got vascular disease, arthritis, high blood pressure, probably a few other things. And I have no stress. The last 2 strokes, they were one right after the other. I was waiting for a bus in the suburbs and I passed out. Luckily, someone I knew saw me. Unluckily, it was after I had $200 taken out of my pocket. Anyway, they took me home. I just said I wanted to go home, and somebody helped me up to my room. And it was like I was on LSD. When I'd sit on the bathroom, it looked like I looked around and I could see a field, and people were walking by me, saying hi to me. And I'd be sitting on the toilet. I was sleeping in the bathtub. Had bed bugs, so I slept in the bathtub. And so the bed bugs wouldn't bother me. I'd run the water and have the tub full of water, and luckily I didn't drown. And after about 2 weeks, I had another stroke. I didn't want to go to the hospital. And a neighbor of mine, he said, well, I'm going to call EMS. And EMS came out, and she made me go with EMS to the hospital. Doctors weren't sure I was going to survive. And because of the diabetes, my leg was swollen. And in fact, I kept looking at it when I was, before I came out of everything, and kept saying, that's not mine. Where'd that come from? And they told me they were going to have to cut off my leg. I said, okay, doc, go ahead. Then they said I had lice in my hair. It wasn't lice, it was bed bugs. And they wanted to cut my hair off and treat my scalp. And I said, nope, you can't have my hair. You can have my leg, but you can't have my hair. Because, like I say, my hair covered up all the damage on the side of my head. And without my hair, I make Frankenstein look handsome. Anyway, make a long story short, I'm still alive today. Doctors didn't think I was going to make it. And when I go to the doctor's office, I go to the heart doctor quite often for tests and so on. And I always make him happy because, like I said, no stress. Don't worry about my illnesses. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it now. Now, this song I've heard before and I love it. I play it a lot. It's by the Recht Band. It's called The Hope. It's a long one. And after it, I'll say goodbye to you. Sound good to you?
This is the hope. The hope is still real. A Jewish home in Israel. This is the time we stand as one. If not now, when? We must be strong. Our hearts turn to the east. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. This is the hope. The hope is still real. A Jewish home in Israel. This is the time we stand as one. If not now, when? We must be strong. Our hearts turn to the east. Yeah, this is the hope that holds us together. The hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. This is the hope. 2,000 years, we pray for freedom, pain and tears. This is our faith. This is our voice. This is our promise. This is our choice. Our hearts turn to the east. Yeah, this is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva. Everybody sing it. Hatikva, the hope is real. Hatikva, our home Israel. Our home Israel. Everybody sing. I'm Koshi. With heart say. Just you. Jewish home, Israel.
Okay, I want you all to have a good day, a good week, a good month, and a good year. And most of all, I want you to have a beautiful life. Thank you for being you. And TGY, thank God you're alive.